Hey guys, wInevitable here, bringing you another video. We're doing some more of that beginner stuff, covering some of the basics, and there's a couple things I wanted to touch on before we actually get into the specific maps and go through each of the map, break them down, and get into the more complicated aspects of a heroes match. And these deal specifically with chat, communicating with other players, mostly in game. We talked a little bit about it out of game. Also, hotkeys is a big thing that a lot of so, some things you might miss that might slide into the radar. Going to cover a couple things there. And then there's a couple other aspects, some basic kind of, I guess, mechanics. Not really mechanics, but it's basic things, the tactics kind of that you can use in-game that we'll go over. And to do this, we're going to kind of showcase off the cooperative mode. So to do that, you can go to change mode. You click on play, go to change mode, and you go cooperative. And this, as I've talked about before, is it's 5 actual people playing against 5 bots. Great place to learn a new hero, to learn the maps, to really get into the game when you're just starting out. And I use it sometimes to level up. You can see I've got ETC here. I've got him at level 1, and so I'm going to go ahead and get him up. He's almost level 2. I need a little bit more experience to get there. And of course in heroes, this is an important thing to talk about. You are talent gated. I don't know. I think I've mentioned this in the past, but you are talent gated. So I'm talent gated on the ETC right now. And what that means is each hero starts with 2 heroic abilities, with the exception of Abathur, who only has 1. You'll have 2 heroics, and then you have a series of talents that you get at these levels: 1, 4, 7, 10, 13, 16, and 20. And I talked briefly about these before, but the idea when you're talent gated is it's kind of like a way to level up, get some rewards early on in your hero's career. That's really the idea behind it. And so what Blizzard did is they restricted your talent choices. So an ETC has 4 talent choices at tier 1, at level 1. He has block, damage slide, dance your pants off, and scouting drone. Now, when you just have ETC at level 1, I cannot access Dance Your Pants Off and Scouting Drone. I also, as his heroic, he has 2 heroics at level 10, Mosh Pit and Stage Dive, but only the first one is available to you. This is at level 1. And so if you go to level 4, you can see there's 2 that are locked. 2 are locked at level 7 and 13 and level 16. And that's sometimes you'll see, like at level 20, he'll have 3 locked to begin with. It's either 2 or 3 talents depending on how many options that hero has. Sometimes it's only 4. Sometimes it's 5. And so what happens is when you get to level 2, which is about 100,000 experience, it's 1 to 2 games usually. I mean, in a rare case, I could see it being 3 games if you had really short, fast games, but almost always it's 1 and sometimes 2 games to get there. Especially if you play with a friend. Remember, you get that friend bonus, 50% more. And so at level 2, you'll unlock the second heroic. I'll get Stage Dive in this case. Then at level 3, I'll unlock my, I believe it's called, we can actually go here to the profile and it'll tell you. See, unlock level 2, heroic. 3 is advanced talents, and 4 is expert. So it's advanced and then expert. And what that means is at level 3, Dance Your Pants Off would now be available to me. And when I get to level 4, I would then have access to Scouting Drone. On a tier like this, I believe it's usually Dance Metal would be open up to me at 3, and then the last 2 are still locked. Rock God and Bolt of the Storm. And so it's I mean, there's been a lot of complaints in the community about talent gating, in that it kind of slows things down. You have to play the hero ungated, gated rather, and then you have to kind of put this time into him before you have access to all these talents. And sometimes you know which talents you want ahead of time. It's like there's no really, I guess, apparent need for this in a lot of people's opinions. Personally, I mean, it's only 4 levels. It's about 100,000 between each of those levels, so it's 300,000 experience. You're talking 3-4 games, and it gives you a chance to learn the hero, to really put some time in. Is it the worst thing in the world? No. Do I think it's necessary? I think the idea I like most about talent gating that I've heard, the best one, is to early on have talent gating, but once you reach a player level of, say, 15 or 20, maybe 40 even, I don't know which level it would be, but at some player level, your talent gating is removed. Just because you've had enough experience in the game that you're at a point where you really don't need that anymore. You're not really looking for things to unlock. And also, the other thing I've heard too about talent gating is that it's the idea behind this isn't to help players by giving them a limited amount of choices. It's more to give them something to unlock and to get as they're leveling up, like a reward system. And that's why it's here. It's not really for a learning curve. So personally, that's how I would say is maybe have talent gating early on for a brand new player, and then at a certain player level, get rid of it completely, or have a way around it. I don't know. There's got to maybe like you do like a mission, a training mission with the hero, one mission, and then you get all their talents, something like that. Because for an experienced player like myself, I don't need talent. Like talent gating is only a hindrance in a way. It doesn't really provide any benefit. Now it doesn't bother me that much. So like I can always hop into a co-op mode, and occasionally I'll play the hero in a versus talent gated, depending on who it is. If they have enough talents, you can still get away with it. It's not the end of the world by any means. But say when I unlock Asmod, I unlocked a new Barak yesterday, and I played versus with him at level 1. He was talent gated, but he actually had like his heroic. I mean, you could use Web Blast, and I'll do a guide on the new Barak pretty shortly. But his other heroic, Locust Storm, is awesome. And there were a couple talents, like I didn't have access to Under King, or I believe it's the level 13. I did not have access to Chitinous Plating, but I could still take Spell Shield. And so like I missed a couple choices because of that I wanted. Like I couldn't take the heroic upgrade on 20 right away, but it was okay. It didn't cause me any trouble at all. That was the least of my worries. But yeah, I would definitely say hopefully in the future they do put something down where you can actually unlock the talents ahead of time. Like once you get to a certain player level, that would be awesome. Just some way around it. Have it initially there for brand new players, and then as you're more experienced and you've leveled your character up, you get to say like 20, 15, maybe 40 at the latest, you then no longer are talent gated. But that's talent gating for anyone who doesn't know what it is. And of course we'll be playing ETC here in a second in co-op mode, and we're talent gated. Now this specifically, we're going to mostly get in and show off co-op mode and show off the chat features that they have, because they put a lot in. Blizzard's put a lot into this. It's really cool. And the other thing is I wanted to talk about hotkeys. That's a big thing. Now you can go to the options menu down here. You go here. You've got your graphics. You can check out all my graphics settings. I think it's just Ultra is what I usually play on. You can of course customize all of this if you want. Sound, of course, you've got you can turn music on and off. I usually leave that off. And you've got all this different interface stuff for your sounds. You've got your controls, your sensitivity. Enable camera follow is a big thing. Right here, this is when enabled, the camera it says will follow your hero as it moves around the map, and this can be a little annoying. I think it comes with this turned on. The heroes does, if I remember correctly. It's been a while, but I did turn this off. I'm pretty sure going back, just because it's I love looking around the map, checking out other lanes, looking to see what the enemy team's doing if I have vision of them, and so that's where you turn it off. Is right there if you want to. If it's on, you can turn it off right here. You can change things. You can disable keys if you want, and all that good stuff. Then you go to gameplay. You have the life bars right here. You can turn them on always if you want. I leave them on damaged. There's no option right now for like in StarCraft. You can just when you hold down a key, like if you depress the Alt key, you can turn them on and then have them go away. I don't think there's an option for that right now. I'd have to look into that. And then quick cast is another thing you've seen, and I'll probably do a video on this specifically. It determines how attack and ability targeting behaves. So when it's off, which is its default, as I use it most of the time, you're pressing a hotkey to issue an order, like one of your abilities, enters target mode, and then the left click of the mouse button actually casts the ability. Like if you want to cast your Q, your spell, on your Q key, you'll tap Q and then left click. That's the default. When it's on, pressing the hotkey instantly issues the order in the direction or location of the mouse cursor. So I wouldn't have to left click. Just tapping the Q would cast the spell wherever my mouse is. And then on release, when you press the hotkey, it enters targeting mode, and you can then move the mouse around. And when you release the Q, the hotkey, whatever hotkey it is, you will then issue the order in the direction of the mouse cursor. So there's a couple different settings you can play around with. I usually leave it just off. And then I'll hold down, a lot of times I'll hold down the ability key. Like if I'm blinking with Zeratul, I'll hold down the E and I'll move the mouse where I want to go and then click. That's usually just how I do it. I guess you could kind of be faster. I don't know if you could be faster with it on. You would have to learn a whole different set of behaviors. And so I'm comfortable with it off, and that's how I play. But you can definitely experiment with that. You can save all replays with this right here. That's really useful. If you want to save these, you can upload those to the website Hotslogs. Check your MMR, check your win percentages out, things like that. And then, I guess the display retime information is another option. You can turn it on and off. Social, you can, enable mature language filter. I've got apparently a bunch of people blocked. I've blocked so many people. You can turn that off. I usually leave it off. I always want to see what people say. And I guess you can block friend requests. I've never actually done that. You can auto join channels. I guess this is when you joins all the ones that were open prior to your last logout, so it saves your settings. Whichever chat channels you were in, you'll automatically join them again. You can show them in game, so the messages will display while you're in game. I leave that off. I just don't want to be disturbed. I'm concentrating on what I'm doing, communicating with my team, so I don't want those showing up. And then you can do some privacy settings here. Enable the players near you list. You can turn that off. That's for like finding other people near you to play with. You can have only friends send you invites to games and things like that, and only friends send you messages if you don't want people talking to you that you don't know for some reason. And you can I set status to busy when playing a game. This prevents also, just like the chat channel messages won't come in, this is the PMs, private messages, personal messages will not come into your game. You'll get them, you have to actually look through the chat down here after you get out of the game. And so I do leave that there once again, just because if I'm recording, I don't want things showing up. And also when I'm in game, I'm focused on what I'm doing. And then you can change the language. You will have to restart your client. You have to exit the game and come back in if you want to change the language. Also, hotkeys is a big thing. These are your basics. Your Q, W, E, R, D, your basic abilities. F is the second trait. I have not actually run into a hero yet who uses this, but it is also an option. Attack, this is A is for attack. S is for stop. H is for hold. Stop will stop your hero from moving, but then they will attack, and they will actually auto attack anything in range. I believe hold position does not, and we can experiment with that in co-op here in a second just to show that off. Escape is cancel if you want to cancel an ability or something of that nature. Or if you're channeling, you're backing, using the Hearthstone ability to go back to your altar, you can cancel it like that. Then you go into here, and there's a lot of options, so definitely go through these. I'm not going to go through them all. You can do, okay, so there is a show all life bars. You can use Alt for that. That is in here, just like StarCraft. That's great. I don't think I've actually used it that much in here because I do have them on when they're damaged. But if you wanted to turn the health bars off completely, you could then use Alt to show them again. So that's an option there for people that are interested in that thing. That utility. And then of course, there's a lot of different ones. The main ones I wanted to talk about. You can do quick talent selection. So you can do Control 1 to select talent 1. You can do 2, 3, 4, 5. So when you level up, you can select the talent quickly like this by doing Control 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Something I'm going to start doing most likely. It's not hard to come over here and click, but you might want to do that just to speed things up. Once you know a hero really well, definitely use this. It will speed things up a lot. I've talked about the leader panel by tab and then the character sheet with C. Talked about that previously. Let's go down to talents here. These are, of course, you can apparently have up to 8 talents. I've only ever had 5, but you can have up to 8, and they'd all be on the number keys. You can change those hotkeys. Chat. These are basically how you would chat in game. These are the hotkeys for that. So you can tab through to get a different recipient. If you have like PMs enabled in game, you can talk to different people. You can cancel with an escape. Enter sends it. Enter also opens it if you haven't opened the chat console yet. And then if you want to talk to your allies, it's Control Enter. Chat to an individual, you would do Alt Enter. Kind of like a reply would be Alt Enter. Now, also in-game chat, as I will talk about, only shows up to your team. So I'm not certain exactly why this exists. If they're planning on putting in an all-team chat or something like that in the future, it doesn't currently exist in that sense. We'll get into that in a minute. And then you have the main menu is F10. You close it with an escape. A couple for the observer. If you're watching replays, there's a bunch of things in here you can go through. But I wanted to talk about the camera. This is really cool. You can actually create locations. So just like in StarCraft, I was a StarCraft player. You can do these hotkeys right here to create up to 8 locations, and then you can jump back to them. It's really cool. It's something I haven't yet used in Heroes, but I definitely plan on it. And it's very useful for checking different spots on the map, and I think this would actually be really useful as Abathur, for example. So I'm definitely going to start making use of these, and that's a really cool idea. So definitely check out the hotkeys, set them configure them however you want, and then you know, you'll know what you're doing when you get into the game. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump in, and you can see if I'm in this, I can tab through the channels like this. If I had PM to somebody, it would also show up here instead of the channel name. And so that's hotkeys. We'll talk about chat as we get into the game a little bit, and some other things that go along with it. Now we click ready up. It does take a minute to search. Hopefully this doesn't take too long, but it does actually look for other people playing, and it's pretty early in the day here. It's just after 1 in the afternoon, so I'm not exactly certain how long this will take, but hopefully it doesn't take too long, just because you know, we don't want to keep this. I might actually, if it does take too long, I'll cut the video out and just splice them back together as 2 parts probably. Other things, neat ability, or neat capability of the game is called self-casting, and you can self-cast abilities if applicable. Say it's a heal, you're playing support, and there we go, we're into the game. I'll turn the game sounds up a little bit. You can actually hold Alt down and then cast the ability, and you will then actually cast it on yourself. And we'll show that with, I don't know if ETC has any or not. Okay, so we're on 100 mines. You saw our team comp as we went in, and we're going to be playing against 5 bots. Now I have no idea which AI, you know, which characters it'll choose. I think it's randomized. I don't know exactly how Blizzard picks out the AI team. But we get in here. We're not going to cover too much about the map or ETC in specific. I mean, you know, specifically, we're going to specifically, but we're gonna talk about chat a little bit and some other cool little capabilities. So you spawn in. You're in your altar. You can choose your talent. We're going to do just damage slide for right now. Check out their team. You can see that player name is not, it's just player 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And if they were on your team, it'd be like 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a map with 2 lanes. We're going to go down here. Actually, we'll go up top. And you get a little golem that spawns, and we'll cover this in a future video. You can see your abilities here. All down here. Of course, we've seen that in the past. Now, right here is a really cool thing with chat. Oh, you can see it, and they actually, you can chat like that. I'm a booby buyer. That's, I don't even know what that means. That's hilarious. But I can actually, I could type back, and whatever I would hit would go to them. And then I can go back, I could type to Reddit, I could talk to Kings of the Storm. I'm still in that channel for some reason. And back to the allies. So you can tab through that with tab. Looks like they're engaging here. We are playing against the AI, so you can certainly do that. I'm not too concerned about it. And there's Rainer. You can see it says the character name, not like a person's name over it when it's a bot. I don't even know how he... Oh, that's how he works. I haven't played ETC in a while, so don't expect anything amazing. We should actually be killing Rainer, right? He does have a self-heal. And so what I was going to say is I can block people. If I do that, I will no longer get messages from Schmickle. And then I unblock him by clicking it again. ETC is a warrior, so he's got a good bit of HP. You can see he's at 1280 at level 2. And we're just slowly pushing the lane up here, but that's the idea with chat. Another thing I wanted to talk about is there's 2 parts. One is tower shots. If I go in and I take a tower shot, right? It doesn't slow me at all. I'm still moving at full speed. But a fort and a keep, if they hit you, will actually slow you down. They do have a slowing effect, and that's really important to be aware of that. I should probably back up. If these were real players, I would have to back up for sure. And so we're gonna get the kill here, and then we're gonna back out, or maybe not get the kill. Oh, Zeratul might actually die. He does die. All right. So we'll take our level 4 talent. Mines are opening up. We're gonna go inside, and so. We talked about chat, talked about the towers, talked about hotkeys. There's no friendly fire in this game, but there is body blocking, and that's something we're going to show off. in a second. Hopefully, it might be hard. It's very situational, but you can actually body block enemies and you can body block teammates. So you can actually get your teammates killed if you're not careful, and you can use it to actually. Oh, I knocked him into the skulls. No, he's taking my skulls. All right, so you can actually body block people. If let me see, I don't have my Q up, or I would body block him. I don't think. If I come back here and I'm behind him. See, like I am actually body blocking him right now, like, and preventing him from getting out. He did make it out, of course. Teslar's a very slippery fellow. Oh, look at this. Oh, I power slid too slow. So, we'll let Anubarak go as he stuns me. And a nice Howling Wastes from Arthas there, but body blocking is a thing. And you can use it to great effect, and you can also get your teammates killed. So you have to be very cognizant of that. Oh no, I'm going to get stunned by the golem. Oh, I missed. Okay, he didn't stun me. There we go. We get a kill. And I'm going to chase these guys. Where? Oh, I got rooted. You have to be careful fighting around big golems like this. And then what I'm going to do is power slide in. And I'm out of mana, so I can't use the W. But I can heal. And we can. And now, like, he can't actually walk through here, Stitcher Scan. He has to go. Only place he can go is up. And I can stun him with that for a second, and we get the kill. So body blocking is real. It's a big deal. Yeah, you definitely, like, the best players in the game are gonna body block you, and it's gonna be annoying, and you're gonna hate it. It's a sign of a really good player if you can body block somebody and get them killed. And now, if I was faster, I'd get in front of Anubarak and actually body block him. Like Zeratul C came in there, and he slowed Anubarak down just a bit, so he couldn't get the attack off on Kerrigan. So there's a lot of uses for body blocking. You can trap heroes, and you'll see that. It's really cool. We'll try and show some areas off of that when we get out of the mines in a second. So you can trap enemy heroes. You can block them from escaping. You can block them from getting kills on your teammates, and you can unfortunately block your teammates to the point where they'll actually get killed by accident. I'm sure you wouldn't do it intentionally now, right? But it is possible for that to happen. On this map in particular, a nice area to body block someone is down there. And we'll walk down here. You can see if there's an enemy hero here, and I'm standing over here, and then say Arthas came and stood here, the enemy hero, unless they had a barrel roll for Falstad or a blink with Zeratul, an escape of that sort, they wouldn't be able to get out. Like ETC, I believe would be able to power slide, for example, to get through. But you can actually trap people for kills. And so we're going to go in here, knock them back, and now we can actually Stitches is kind of body blocked. He's not going to make it out, so body blocking is a big thing. And that's the main thing I wanted to talk about, was that. We talked about chat. And don't get stunned, don't get CC'd by that. Now you cannot, some things you cannot CC, like this golem, but that's map specific, so you can't actually body block something like of this nature. But other heroes, yeah, you can body block. Minions, no. You can see I'm walking through minions right now, but I can't actually walk through allies. I'm trying to walk through Zeratul right now, and I can't. You can see I'm body blocked. So that's definitely something to pay attention to. And like I said, a really good player will use it. And I can go in here and... Oh, I completely whiffed. No! I missed that stun. I was going to go for the stun on him, and that was a judgment from Tyrael. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to talk about. Oh, I'm trapped. I should probably get out of here. There's some important things to focus on as you're playing a game. You do have the levels, right? There's kind of like, I would say 4 different score, like not just like scoring, like metrics maybe metrics is the right word for it. One is your levels. You can see we're up by 3 levels. Now, the thing about levels is some level advantages. I'm going to slide out of there. You can see I was body blocked, but my slide got me out. So you do have levels. Levels are somewhat an important metric, specifically around, say, levels 10, 16, and 20. If you are... I'm going to slide out of here and get out before I die. Alright, so if you are, say, level 9 and your opponent's level 10, you have to be very careful about taking a team fight. And the same thing goes for level 16 and level 20, because of the talents that you get there are pretty good. So levels is an important metrics, but there's an underdog bonus, so you can actually come back in levels quite easily. And a lot of times the levels are not that. There's not a large disparity there. I would say that between 4 to 5 levels is really the most you'll ever see. Sometimes a rare case you could see more than that. Let's go up here and get Raynor. Actually, no, there's too many people. I'm gonna help Tyrio with this. But a lot of the times it is very close. I don't even know what I'm gonna pick here. Let's do move speed for now. And so there, the level disparity will a lot of times between 1 to 2 levels. You can see we're up 3 levels right now. We might end up with 4 by the end of the game, but there is that underdog bonus, which makes leveling easier. You get getting experience easier for the people behind in a match. Your kills give you more experience. You're getting more trickle XP the farther down in levels you are, up to up to 4 level, being 4 levels behind. And so this is one way to tell how you're doing in a game. But the other thing is, remember. Before we get to that, but there's other thing is kills. You can see we've got 24 kills versus 3. But kills, especially early, do not give you a lot of experience. They do tell you how well you're playing, specifically team fighting. If you're getting out of position and getting ganked and kind of giving up easy kills, you might be low on. You might have a lot of deaths, and you might not be getting a lot of kills. So there's level. There is total kills, and you can see there's also like things like hero damage and siege damage, which tell you how much damage you're putting out. Then there's timers. That's another thing you have to watch. And that involves your specifically heroics. So you can see you have a 120-second cooldown on Mosh Pit. And if I go into the show talent screen, I can see the cooldowns on the friendly heroics. That's another important thing to keep track of. And then the most important thing of all, remember, this game is about killing the enemy core. It's not about being the highest level. Let's help Kerrigan out here. It's not about getting the most kills. It's not about getting the most, like I said, not the most level, not the most kills, not the most objectives. This game is about taking the enemy core down. That's, trying not to get stunned here. Doing too many things at once, right? So this is not about getting, like I said, any of those other things. It's about getting the core. That's what you want to get. So we can go in for a kill here. Nah, I'm gonna have to mount up. Mounting is a big thing to get used to. Really big tactic. We can actually, you're faster than other people, and I can just body block him. I didn't even have to jump off the money pig there to get that kill. I just stopped him from getting out of the entrance. So remember that you do have levels. You can tell how you're doing with levels. You do have kills to see how you're doing with kills, like compared to the other team, where 31 versus 3, which is pretty good. And you do have your timers. That's something to keep track of. But the big deal, the biggest thing is cores, is forts. So you can see right now we're up by 4 levels. We have this fort down, and we have this fort down, and they have 2 keeps left. So they have 2 forts total, 2 of that nature. We haven't lost a single fort yet, so we have 4 forts. 2 forts, 2 keeps, and so we are up by 2 forts. That's a big deal because you opening up an avenue to your core. Oh, that wasn't nice. And so, you might be behind in levels, you might be behind in kills, but still, you might be behind in things like hero damage, for example. But if you're ahead in forts, you're doing all right. And even if you're behind in forts, you can still win. If you're behind, you can be behind in all those categories and still win. Because all you need is an avenue to their core. And remember, all you have to do is kill their core before they kill yours. And that's where you get the backdoor tactic a lot. We're not going to talk too much about it, but the idea is basically, right now there's a lane exposed to their core. This keep is down. So now if this red team gets out of position, our team, and I'm actually using the colorblind mode right now to see how it works. That's why my color's a little weird. But the idea is that if the other team, the red team, were to get out of position, we could sneak in behind them and attack the core, take it down before they have time to respond. And that's kind of the last thing I wanted to talk about. So we got body blocking, we talked about hotkeys, we talked about chat. self-casting is a big thing. And on top of that, it's like the how to tell how you're doing, the metrics of the game, specifically forts, levels, and kills, with forts being the most important. So remember, you can see I leveled up there. I got my my heroic. Forts are the biggest thing in this game by far, but they're not the end-all be-all, because the end result, the end goal of the game is to kill the enemy core. And to do that, you don't need to be ahead in forts. You actually don't. You just need an avenue, a way to get to their core and kill it before they kill yours. So that's why a lot of games, it's very easy to come back in this game. Even if you're down in levels and you're down in kills, if you can manage to take out forts and expose their core, you still have a chance at winning. And there's been some vicious last stands. I've seen a lot of turnarounds in playing this game. So don't get down if you're behind in kills or you're behind in levels, because the core is the big deal. That's the end goal, is to kill the enemy core. Forts also are second most important in that they give you the opening to get to the core. 2, they give you map control. 3, they give you a lot of experience. 2,000 for a fort, 30,250 for a keep. So that's a ton of experience. Early on, that's a full level on some of these. Very early in the game, around level 10, you can get a whole level from taking down a fort, and that'll catch you up in XP very fast. So they're important for that, and and then they also give you the avenue to the core. That's probably the biggest part of taking down forts. It exposes their core, and that's the point of the game, is to kill the core. I don't know how many times I could say that in one video, right? So you get the core, you've got forts. Levels are important in that you get heroics at 10, you get the talents at 4, 7, 13, 16, and 20. Those are important levels. Of course, I've said 16 and 20 are super important. 20 because you get Resurgence of the Storm on a lot of characters, and you get your heroic upgrades. So that's why 20 is so important. 16, you have some pretty strong talents as well for a lot of heroes, for most heroes. So that's why those 2 levels are important. So you'll see people racing to 10, then they back off for a few levels, get objectives, and then it's kind of a race to get to 16, and then eventually you'll have like from 18 to 20, it's a race of you getting to 20 before you take an engagement, because of those talents that you get. And so that is, levels, as I said, are important, but not the most important thing in the game necessarily. Of course, without the exception of maybe 10 is a super important level, but still it's about forts and cores above all. And kills are only important in so far as they get you to those other objectives. And that's where kills really shine. Early on, a kill does not give you that much experience. As I've said before, it's 3 to 4 minion kills early game. And the death timers are instantaneous very early on. It's a few seconds. And they build up gradually, but kills aren't that important early. And so far as they don't give you that much. You don't lose much XP usually if the team is playing smart. If they lose a guy here or there, they're not game ending. As the game moves on, the experience is there, but it's more about the death timers with kills. The idea is if you take a hero out of the game, there's 5 people in a team, right? And they're down to 4. You have 5 people up. You can take map control. You can get objectives. You can get forts. And objectives will lead into forts, and they'll lead into levels. And so you're getting the level advantage, and you're getting the fort advantage. And as those things add up, the game starts to go in your control. And that's where kills really shine late game, is the death timers, in that they allow you to take map control, get objectives, and get forts, and really have your way with the game. And if you can get offset death timers, get kills on kills late game, they're never going to be able to fight you 5v5. And 4v5 is not a way to fight. Especially if at that point you're down in levels as well. Also, kills can be important if you're behind in a game, because you have the underdog bonus. So if you can pick off a hero, right, all of a sudden you're playing 5v4, you got extra XP because you had the underdog bonus, and on top of that, now you're fighting 5v4, so you can take map control, you can get objectives, you can get a fort, and then all of a sudden you're not behind in levels anymore, and maybe you're not behind in forts, maybe you're ahead in forts. So that's where kills are really a means to an end. They're not an end in themselves in this game in any way, shape, or form, and that's why you don't see a huge emphasis on ganks. You will see some people set up ganks because you want to strike fear in the enemy team maybe, or you want to get a little bit of XP. It's not like they don't give any XP. You can also, if you can get knock the enemy team out of a lane early on and they miss the minion XP from the minion kills, then all of a sudden they do fall behind a little bit more in XP. So that's kind of the only usefulness there early game for kills, but it's a means to an end to get you objectives, to get you experience for your levels, and to get you forts and death timers later on in the game. So yeah, I would say the big thing is always you want to keep in mind, kill the enemy core. That's the biggest deal. Forts are a big part of that because they expose the core and they give you map control and they give you experience. Without taking out a keep, you're not going to be able to get to the core and kill the core. You have to get a keep down somehow. And getting a keep down is a big deal. If you've lost 3 forts and they've lost 1 fort and a keep, I would say the advantage is in your favor over theirs because their core is exposed, and then you're going to start spawning catapults in that lane. And then after core forts, then levels are a big deal, especially with heroics. At 10, 16, and 20 are the other two. And then you've got your kills with your death timers late game. Very important in giving map control to one team over the other. And I mentioned another thing you have to keep track of that doesn't really factor into those is your heroic timers. You do want to keep track of yours and the enemy teams as well as objective timers, but that's more map specific. But heroic timers is a big deal because 5v5, if one team has their heroics up and the other team doesn't, it puts that team at an advantage, the one that does have the heroics. But as I said, remember, the goal is kill the core. That's the end goal in all of this. And forts, kills, levels, they're all a means to an end. And you don't need to be ahead in any of those to actually win the game. It makes it easier, but it's not necessary. So that'll do it for this. It was a long one. I just wanted to show off co-op mode, talk about those things like body blocking, tower slow. The idea is kill the core, hotkeys, and chat. So I'll be bringing some more videos. I'm going to do some hero guides. I've got a request for Igar. I think I'm going to do him up next. I've got a new Barak. I'm going to make one for him pretty soon. And we'll have some more coming out. And we're going to start doing, for this beginner series, we're going to start doing specific maps actually up next, I think. I'm going to do the tutorial mode once and show you guys how that works if this is not what I wanted. I'm going to play the tutorial actually, show that off, do try mode, and show off that a bit. And get some actual some map breakdowns, and then we'll be doing builds on the other parts. So if you're looking for hero specific guides, check out that playlist that I've got for those, and certainly give me requests if there's specific heroes. I've gotten a couple, as I said, and I'm going to get those out pretty shortly. And if there's something specific in game you have questions about, leave a comment and I'll definitely make sure to cover it in a future video. So let me know what you think. Like the video, subscribe if it's useful to you guys and you want more. And I'll be bringing, pretty steady content out. Hopefully, I'm aiming for like about 5 a week minimum. I think I can do that. So as long as we got a lot of great ideas, it's gonna bring a lot of great stuff your way. And just get into it one piece at a time. So get out there and have some fun with heroes. It's an awesome game. And thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you soon.